Under the sky to rob, steal, or kill. I'm wondering why it's a dirty game. Is any man worthy of fame? My success to you, even if you wish me the opposite. Sooner or later, we'll all see who the prophet is.
Have you noticed that like 98% of mobile games are about the same nowadays? You know, the really generic ones where there are tons of different levels with that 3-star rating system. You pass as long as you get 1 star, but you really beat it if you get all 3. Well, Tabletop Racing, developed and published by Playwrights Digital back in 2013, tried the same thing with a racing game with a gimmick that you race tiny cars on, well, as the name suggests, on tabletop tracks, with the road being made out of, well, tables, with the sides of the track being lined with normal sized objects that seem huge. Not very original, but what is nowadays. It was only available on the iOS, but a year later, it also made its way to the Android market and onto the handheld PlayStation Vita. In May of 2016, this game has now climbed its ranks to the current consoles, and to the marketplace on Steam, so basically you can play this game on just about any platform nowadays. What we're looking at today is the 2016 version, available on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. More specifically, what we're looking at today is a PlayStation 4 version, but it's all the same across the board. I guess the question is, if you haven't played it already, would you want to now? It's a racing game, basically a port of a mobile game at that. Are you fucking serious? Moving on. Tabletop Racing is easy to pick up and play. Its menus make it easy to know where to start and where to go next. There isn't anything you haven't seen here before. In its typical mobile game fashion, it presents you with a basic layout of race events and their description and what they entail you to do to win. When you actually take control of your vehicle, the idea is to make you feel like you're racing a tiny car on a table track. And here, it isn't original by any means, but it still works. It's typical kart racing, but the levels, if you take the time to look up on the tracks, it does give you a sense of enormous environment around you. Outside of the barriers of the track are normal sized objects and often arise in the actual room that you're racing in. Tracks such as a cruise ship and sushi restaurant are stands out, but the rest just seems so generic and cliche, like the 80s track that's just placed with a bunch of 80s props lining the track, or the garage with just mundane garage items. They're all still really lame, but the 2 that I mentioned are still better than the rest. There aren't many tracks here, as the same 5 and 6 just get recycled over and over, but with different objectives to do on each track, or in the 3 different classes. They're the same, but with a different level of speed and difficulty. The cars look pretty cool, and they're obviously based off real cars with modified names that are similar. If they sold these as toys, I would definitely buy some for my son. For a racing game, it doesn't give you a huge sense of speed. That's not until you get to the top tier of the racing league when the speed of the game finally opens up, but it does seem a little too late. By this time, you've pretty much seen everything the game has to offer, just at a faster pace. The visuals basically made me feel like I just turned on a superpowered Nintendo 64. The levels feel really uninspired and just felt like they were thought up by some 20-something-year-olds that just graduated from game design college trying to get out their first project. This would be pretty awesome in 1997, but I would still rather play Mario Kart 64. Tabletop Racing looks pretty damn good for a mobile game brought to the current platforms and runs without a problem, but it doesn't do anything out of the ordinary. Tabletop Racing is about as straightforward as it can get, as most mobile games are nowadays. It's streamlined to play the game, earn money to upgrade, complete a section of the game, and then it's rinse and repeat. It's a kart racer with power-ups to slow down opponents behind you or take out ones ahead of you, but it doesn't do anything to reinvent the wheel. Just like about any other kart racer, there are sludge and bombs to throw behind you, rockets to lock on or shoot right in front of you, or speed boost, or a freeze wave to briefly turn opposing racers into a block of ice. The only thing this game does do a little different here is about halfway through you can pick up a power-up, and if you hold on to it and pick up another power-up, it will supercharge it, making it much more powerful. When using power-ups, you receive bonus money if you affect other racers while using them. There are 3 tiers of levels, and each tier has its own set of cars from slow, medium, and fast. It does start out very slow and gradually gets fast once you reach the 3rd tier. But by that point, you've already experienced everything the game has to offer. From straight up combat racing with power-ups enabled, to complete a lap fast enough, or to complete so many laps fast enough, lap knockout, you know, if you're in last place, and that lap you're out, straight up racing, and to catch the car in front of you, and drift. God, I hated these. Where you have to drift around to gain so many points enough to be in the 3 to 1 star, depending on how many points you get as you collect as long as you were drifting. It was varied enough, I guess, but after doing the same thing over and over, by 2 hours or so, I had already seen everything the game had to offer. I will admit that once getting to 3rd tier, it did seem more of a fun game, and the enemies were more of a challenge. The first 2 tiers are pretty much pushovers and a joke and could easily be defeated. I came in 1st place more times than none, but you can complete the stage and move on if you come in 3rd. And when it did happen to come in 3rd, I had no desire to retry to try to come in 1st place. I honestly was completely content on just finishing the game no matter what, as that's the only reason I kept playing. Each tier has an ending race where you race up to 3 to 4 or even 5 different races, which are all combat race, which is the funnest mode, by the way, and you get points for being in the place that you end in, like Mario Kart Grand Prix, if you will. This is where the game was the funnest. Coming in first, third, then fourth, and maybe second, but still winning the whole show was fun. The losers get thrown in the trash can while you get to celebrate with the other top 2 racers. There is a bit of upgrading here. As each race ends, you earn money that you can be used to purchase upgrades. When you move to a higher tier, you can buy a car that is used for that tier. There are certain perks that can be equipped to your car as well, and they come in the shape of rims. You can buy shield rims that protect you from attacks for a little while, drift wheels that can make other cars slow down and take damage if they bump into you, and other ones that just make you earn money among a few others. I really just used the ones that made me earn more money, as upgrading my car was the best choice for me, but it is nice to have a variation and switch it up if you want. There are also coins around each track to pick up to give you some bonus money. Tabletop racing is a mundane kart racer and average at best. It was, however, a nice distraction, as I was playing in another game at the same time I was playing this one, and when I was frustrated with that game or I was just needing a break, it was a nice distraction. Tabletop racing doesn't put up much of a challenge, as the AI are just a bunch of morons, and they will use their power-ups immediately after picking it up, and they don't pose much of a threat. There are some races, however, I really needed to buckle down on, but the game is so forgiving. If you start off bad or just halfway through a race and realize it's just not happening for you, you can just easily restart the race by just pressing the pause button and hit that button to restart the race. Tabletop Racing was the May 2016 free game of the month for the PlayStation 4, and honestly, that's about what it's worth to me. The price tag on Steam is like $20 or something like that, and that's just ludicrous and definitely not worthy of that price tag. $1 or $2 maybe, possibly, but with it being so generic and so little here, and also being able to finish everything the game has to offer in around 6 hours or so, it's definitely not worth more than that. When playing it, I honestly had a decent time distracting myself from what I really was playing, and more times than none, I really just wanted to turn it off and jump over and play Mario Kart on the Wii U or Sonic Transform Racing, as those are much more superior kart racing games, and they're also close to the price tag this one is asking for. If you can catch this game on PlayStation 4, or if they updated June's free games, then yeah, go for it. It's okay for free. If not, pick it up for $1, maybe $3 if it gets a sale or a massive price drop. Trust me, you're not missing anything here. So yo, it's Kamikaze Soundwaves. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time. Later.